Greetings everybody, this is slicedlime and it's time for another advanced commands tutorial. Just earlier this week, the Minecraft community found out that it is indeed possible to command mobs around to determine what they attack and through that also in some manner where they go. So this tutorial is going to show you how that's done. We've started out in a brand new world here as is customary for these tutorials, so you'll see how this works from the very beginning. Let's start with some housekeeping. If you've seen my video on necromancy, summoning your own skeletal army, this tutorial will show you more in depth how getting those mobs to behave that way is achieved. Alright, the basic gist of it is based on the concept of UUIDs, that's for Universally Unique Identifier. Every mob, every entity in Minecraft has a UUID. Let's take this sheep, for instance. We're going to do scoreboard objectives add test dummy. And scoreboard players set e that equals sheep equals 1 test 1. So now this sheep has a score of 1 in the test scoreboard. Now, the sheep doesn't have a name, and it will always be referred to by its UUID. If you've seen scoreboards with entities in them before, or one of the earlier advanced commands tutorials, you've probably seen this before. This little guy is called 50D09266-6423- and so on. That's a UUID, and they always have that exact format. Now, in order to control what a mob does, we have to give it a target in the form of a predetermined UUID. It's actually possible to set the UUID of an entity when you summon it. So let's summon a mob on top of this block. For instance, let's summon a pig. And what we're going to do is we're going to put no AI to 1 on it. So this means there will be a pig spawning on top of this command block and it's just going to stand there. It's not going to do anything in particular. Now, we're also going to add the other crucial ingredient, which is the UUID. There are several ways of setting this, but this is the shortest and easiest version. Here you can put either the long or the short form of the name. So 00001. Here's our pig, floating slightly in air. If I do scoreboard players set at e type equals pig c equals 1 test 2, we see that that pig now has the UUID of 00001. There's a whole lot of padding to it, but the short form of it is 00001. You can use either form whenever you're addressing a mob, and that's important because that lets us cut down on a whole lot of typing. So we've managed to spawn a pig, and we've managed to set its UUID. Now here's an important thing. Now that we've spawned it, we can address it in a command. So I can use its UUID directly as its name. I don't have to do at e square brackets and then name equals and then the string. I can directly address it by its UUID. And then we can do something here. We could turn on its AI, or we could set its health or whatever we want. But an important thing to notice is that we cannot change its UUID. Now we've spawned it, its UUID will remain the same. It may seem like we managed to change it. This UUID says 00002 here, but the actual UUID is controlled by 2 other properties. They're called UUID most and UUID least. This is a very complex way of encoding 2 64-bit values for a 128-bit value, and mostly you can ignore them. But what's important to see here is that we have our UUID most, which I'll highlight here, and it's set to 0. That means the highest part, or the first part of our UUID is 0. The other one is called UUID least. And as you can see, it's set to 1. So the lower part of our UUID is still 1. The command we ran didn't do anything. And we can see that by setting this to 3, And you can see that it's still the same UUID that's set to 3. That brings up an interesting question, of course, is can we set the UUID least? And the answer is no, we cannot. It will not tell us any error other than the fact that the data tag did not change. Now this is probably as close to top level advanced we're ever going to get in these tutorials. We are now tinkering around with internal values of Minecraft. You can do serious damage to your world using this. For instance, it's very, very important to not summon 2 mobs to the same UUID. And to show you why, I'm going to do exactly that. So let's take this command over here and let's summon something else. Let's summon a sheep with the same UUID. That appears to have worked fine, but remember they are supposed to be unique. And I can address them in commands directly by their name. So let's now kill this one. 00001, they're both called that, right? So let's kill them both. No, okay, I killed only one. What about the other one? Let's kill it. It doesn't exist. I now have a pig here that I can't do anything about that doesn't really exist, and this will glitch out mobs around it, and it will cause all kinds of weird, glitchy behavior. There are ways to fix this, of course, but they're annoying. You can close down the level and you can open it up in MC Edit. Or this easy way, if you don't have MC Edit or you don't want to kill all the entities within a square or something like that, you can save the level and you can open it back up. And now you get access to killing another single instance of the mob called that name. If you accidentally put this kind of command on a clock and you spawn a whole bunch of them, you're gonna have a problem, because you can only kill off one single one of them every time you start the level. Let's add this guy back to our scoreboard and let's take a look at something else interesting which makes this much harder to actually abide by and to not accidentally wreck your world. Look closely as I kill this pig. Let's do it again. Keep an eye on the scoreboard as the pig dies. Since the pig has died, the score for the entity in the scoreboard will be removed. However, it takes a while. The entity actually keeps existing until the death animation has completed fully. This is important, and it makes things very difficult. The problem is, once you have actually killed the mob dies on, let's call the tick that the mob dies on tick 1. From tick 1 and onwards, it will be impossible to execute any commands off of the mob. Essentially, as far as your command blocks are concerned, the entity with that UUID no longer exists. However, internally in Minecraft, it will appear to exist for 20 more ticks. So if before tick number 21, you summon a new entity with the same UUID, the game will break. You have to make sure not to do this. And the only reliable way that I have thought of to do that is to keep a counter and count to 20 on your clock. That said, now we're through the lecture part of this. Now it's time to get something to attack our pig. To do that, we're going to need something that will attack it. So we're going to summon a skeleton right on top of this command block, and we're going to give that a custom name called attacker. And we're going to do a couple of more things. We're going to do equipment. So if you know, the equipment tag contains 5 fields, and we're going to need 2 of them. The first one is the equipment being held in the hand of the entity. That is going to be a Minecraft : bow. One of them. The last one is the head slot. That is going to be an iron helmet, because we don't want this skeleton to burn. And it's going to need 1 of those. So let's run that. So let's run that command, and we get ourselves a skeleton called attacker with an iron helmet. So that's great. Let's kill him off for now until we need him. so he doesn't wander off. The way we control targeting in Minecraft is this. Whenever a projectile hits an entity, that entity gets informed of who threw or spawned the projectile. So, who shot the arrow, who threw the snowball, who threw the potion. In the case of mobs, this means that they get angry with whoever threw the potion or a snowball or shot the arrow. We can abuse this fact. So, here's how that works. I can, for instance, summon a snowball, and I'll summon it directly underneath my feet. Let's just summon it with an empty data for now. You see it's summoned at my feet. It doesn't have any speed or anything because we didn't give it any, and it just fell straight down. These projectiles have a field called ownerName. The only capital letter in that is N, which kind of breaks convention with most MBT tags, but that's how it works. Minecraft is not very consistent that way. If I threw a snowball, my name would be in ownerName, so it would essentially be ownerName slicedlime. However, we can also set this to whatever we like. So, in our case, we're going to set Piggy here to be the owner of the snowball. Now, if I summon that here, and it hits the skeleton is going to think that the pig threw the snowball. It's going to get mad at the pig and attack it. So let's spawn our attacker here again. Let's try to be directly on top of him. If he can be still for a moment, and then summon a snowball. He gets hit, and he goes, "Screw you, pig," and starts shooting at it with his normal skeleton accuracy. Okay, you're done. This way, we can control the target of mobs. Now, if we put this in a command block, and we do execute at E, name equals attacker, and we summon the snowball wherever the skeleton is, instead of below my feet, we'll summon it a bit above its feet, so center body somewhere, and we'll add a motion tag to its NBT. And what we're going to do is we're going to direct it directly upwards. So 0D, 1D, 0D. This will spawn a snowball inside of its chest, sort of directed upwards directly towards its head. And since we're not using UUIDs for the attacker name, we could potentially have however many attackers we want, and they are all going to get a snowball summoned each, and it's all going to hit them individually, and they're all going to think that this pig threw the snowball. So, let's try that out. Summon a new one of you. It immediately gets hit by the snowball, gets mad at the pig. Better angle this time, also actually gets hits in. And there we go. That is the basics of how we control mob behavior in Minecraft. We could even replace the pig with an armor stand, like so. Spawn that. Same UUID, different mob type. Snowball, armor stand through the snowball. Gets killed. This far, everything seems rather simple. You have to keep track of not spawning duplicates of the predetermined UUIDs. But if we manage that with countdown timers or whatever we use to manage that, then it all seems to work out fine. The problem is, reality is much more complex than that. I've done the demonstration using skeletons because they are the simplest to manage. They will attack pretty much anything. The problem is, you are used to a skeleton chasing you down a cave, discovering you from far away and then coming to get you. For some reason, when it comes to other entities, it doesn't. So if it doesn't have direct line of sight, it can be kind of hit or miss if it actually goes for that entity or not. Zombies, on the other hand, have great pathfinding and they will go long directions to get to their target, but they accept almost no targets at all. They only accept players or villagers as targets. At some point, somebody should probably sit down with a huge experiment and come up with a big list of what works and what doesn't. So, zombies will attack and go to players and villagers. Those can be used to get zombies to pathfind wherever. Skeletons will attack pretty much anything, but they will not really pathfind to it. They will stand and shoot, and sometimes glitch out and just sort of inch forwards repeatedly, or backwards repeatedly. Creepers will get mad at some entities, but not armor stands, and they will pathfind to their targets and then blow up if they are close enough. If you're interested in using this feature in your own devices, be aware that you probably need to use some trial and error to figure out which type of mob will do what to which type of targets. I don't have a complete list at this moment because this thing has just been discovered and I haven't had time to do more thorough testing on it. If you want to hit more than one target, splash potions work as well as snowballs. The problem is the splash potion will generally actually damage the mob, so you might kill it. Sometimes that's an acceptable trade-off, sometimes it isn't, sometimes you'll have to try to heal the mob up afterwards. When I did this in my necromancy device, I would give the mobs a temporary max boost resistance before I hit them with the splash potion. That would keep them alive a lot longer. Anyway, that is the function. It is difficult to use correctly, but if you manage to use it correctly, it can produce pretty spectacular results. If you found this video helpful, please do hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below. If there are other advanced command concepts that you would like a tutorial about, feel free to leave a comment about that as well. That is going to be all for this time. My name is slicedlime. Thank you for watching.